Join us on this week's Pembroke Towncast, where we'll have a little look through the news that affects the town this week. We'll have a quick update on Swanwatch. We will talk through all the events that are coming for VE Day, and in our chatty bit, we'll have a little chat about the traffic lights and events that we could be holding in the town centre. We'll finish it all off with a little bit of the sports desk. Let's get on with it. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Pembroke Towncast with me, Lee G. I am your host. It is just me. I would love more of you to come and join me. More of that later. So let's kick off with the news desk for this. I mean, it's been a lovely week. It's been a lovely week for it. So, yeah, news desk this week is pretty much nobody can be bothered to do anything because it's been quite nice, basically. The only real updates I've got this week is it's that time of year when we change mayors. So this year's mayor will be Gareth Jones and deputy mayor will be Jonathan Grimes. So yeah, it's one of those weird things that I find myself going down a rabbit hole on this. So I looked on the town council website. So if anybody just Google Pembroke Town Council, and you have a look at the website, and there's a load of information on there, and it's really, really good stuff. The bit that confuses me and always is I look at Towncast for a couple of different towns. So one of the bits of news that I'll share with you is that we've got loads of stuff happening in the background. That's why I haven't been able to do much with it for the last couple of weeks. So we're potentially going to roll this out through every town in Pembrokeshire and then probably further afield. So I've been looking at a lot of what people do, and the effectiveness of the town council. Can tell you that some of the other town councils are a lot easier to deal with than ours. That's not to say that they're poor or bad or anything, but yeah, there are other town councils that are a lot easier to deal with. But when you go onto our town council website, you will see the minutes of meetings on there, and you will see very few questions from residents. Um, so given the way the world is at the minute, I would really, really encourage you to get involved with your local town council. Okay, our town council is there to sort us, to look after our interests, to do what we need to do. I would encourage you. There's a little slot on every town council meeting agenda for questions from members of the public. So drop them a line and tell them you've got a question. It's as simple as that. This is how we get involved. This is how if I was a councillor and my wife has told me in no uncertain terms that that's not going to happen. But if I was a town councillor, I would want those questions. I would want to know what's going on in the town. They're individuals. There's only so much that they can see. There's only so much that they can do. If you don't communicate with them, they're going to struggle to communicate with you, to be fair to them. So, let's get involved with our local town council. Let's get involved in what they're doing, how they're doing it, when they're doing it. Let's put those questions out there that we need answering. Okay. So that is my little bit from this week. We're starting to look at, mayors and what have you. Yeah, go and look at the town council minutes, see what they're talking about, see what's happening. See, a lot of the stuff that people moan about has actually already been discussed at town council, and the questions are there. People just they either don't know this is where the answer would be, or they can't be bothered to go and look. So if you don't know, this will help. If you can't be bothered, well, then you're beyond help. Tough. So let's. What else have we got? So I'm going to give a quick plug to Swanwatch. So I've got a Swanwatch video to go out this week. It's all a little quiet at the minute because there are only four sets of swans. So at the very top of the mill pond, we've got Arianwen and Arwen. About just on that first curve, you've got Betsy and Berwyn. You've then got Carwyn and Cariad. They're the ones that most people would see. That's about halfway across. And then if you walk all the way around down to Castle Pond, you will see Dereth and Dylan on there. So judging by when they went down onto their nest, so Dylan and Dereth went down first, so I'm expecting them to hatch first, and I'm expecting them to hatch in the next week, realistically. Next down was Arianryn and Arwen, followed by Carwyn and Cariad, and finally Betsy and Berwyn. Betsy and Berwyn were weird because they built their nest early, but they weren't sitting on it, so it was a little bit weird. The disappointing thing is that we know that there were at least two other couples that were looking to build nests. They were trying to build nests out of things that were not reeds. And I watched them quite a bit down there. That they were desperately trying to find somewhere to make a nest, and they haven't been able to. And part of kind of my theme this week is really taking responsibility for ourselves. We cut that stuff down. We cut it down so we can have a better view of the pond. I mean, come on. We've got to think about this a bit better. With that pond can at one point in the past, I think I counted 7 nests on there. Okay, we're down to 4, and one of them is on Castle Pond, and the one on Castle Pond, he's really quite aggressive, and he's not letting anybody else nest on his pond. So the ones on Mill Pond are a little bit more kind of chilled out and what have you. When cygnets hatch, they will pretty much boot off all of the other swans from that pond, and they'll fly downstream. So it's very possible that couple E and couple F have already flown and gone to find a nest somewhere else. There are quite a few swans there that are going around in pairs. So, it's just a real shame where we've got an opportunity to have something quite exciting, quite interesting, but we've cut down the nesting material and taken the nesting material away for our own personal gratification. I want to see the pond. It just doesn't make sense to me. But there we go. That's where it is. So there are 4 down there. I would expect, based on when they went down, I would expect Dylan and Delith to be in the next kind of week or so, followed very shortly after by Arwen and Arianwen. And then about another week, then you'll see Carwyn and Cariad, and then another week, maybe 10 days after that again, would be Betsy and Berwyn. So we should have a nice stagger of swans. There are still some swans on there from last year that were in the nest where Carwyn and Cariad currently are. So they brood. If you remember last year, last April was really, really wet. And quite a few swans lost. So Dylan and Derek lost their eggs last year and didn't have a brood. Carwyn and Cariad, I'm assuming it was them in that nest. They bred really, really late. I think they actually bred really early, lost their eggs, but then laid a second set and built it higher. And this year's nest, you can see, is a lot higher. So they bred very late, and there is still some of their cygnets around with grey feathers. So that's how late they were on that. So yeah, fingers crossed, we should be seeing cygnets on all of the ponds in the near future, and that'll be great. And if you stay tuned to Swanwatch, you will get some more information on that. Okay, let's go and have a look at the events. Okay, so okay, so let's have a little looky at the Pembroke Castle website, see what's on there. So Voices in the Castle coming later in the year, but these are the things happening in May. And I know so these are being half term and whatever. So I know they kind of holiday orientated, but it is worth keeping an eye on. Some of these are good. All when my kids were small, they went to all of these, and they're really good fun to go to. So I would encourage you to do that. Then we've got a gig in July 19th. The bit I wanted to show you was this. So this week they announced the summer schedule for outdoor theatre. Now, if you haven't been to these before, it is really, if it's a nice evening, it's absolutely fantastic. The bit they don't tell you on this is things like bring your own chairs, bring some blankets, bring a cup of tea. Because even on a summer's evening, it does get kind of coldish. Um, I mean, the cafe's open anyway, so you'd still get tea and coffee there. But it's the first time I went to see one of these, it just turned up. I went, okay, and I sat on the grass for an hour. Sometimes they do provide chairs. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're on a blanket. Some people bring picnics. It's a really good night out. So Pride and Prejudice will be on 23rd of July. This one, The Most Perilous Comedy of Elizabeth I. This is a new one. It's a specifically written play. Sounds great, it genuinely does on that one. And then Wind in the Willows is always a great one for the kids as well. So that's 20th of August. I know they're in the summer, but it's well worth thinking about those now and putting those in your diary now. I will certainly be at them. So coming up this week, obviously we've got VE Day celebrations. Now, this isn't all of them. Okay, this is just the ones that have been run by the town council. So on Thursday, the 8th, there's a country market, and it'll be a bit more of a celeb. As I said to you last, I think I said it on the Pembroke document. I'm not fond of the term celebration. It doesn't sit well with me, but that's just me. I'm a commemorative person, not a celebratory person. Midday, pipes will be played outside the town hall, and at 9 p.m. there'll be the lighting of the beacon, which is kind of like a nationwide thing. Um, everyone lights the beacons at a certain time. On the 9th, we've got Pembroke Young at Heart Club, enjoy fish and chip lunch. You can get your tickets available for that. And then on the 11th is the Mayor's Parade along Main Street, which, Main Street will be closed for that. You've seen the signs up for that already on that. Okay, so that's it for events. Okay, so what I will say on events, we'll talk about this a bit more later. Is if you've got anything there that you think will be interesting, send it in. More than happy to promote it. I've just seen Pembroke Rugby Club are holding a barbecue down at the Creswell Quay. I forgot to write down the dates on that, but I have shared that on our social media. Anything like that, tag us in it, and I'll more than happily share it, and I'll talk about it on the show as well. Or if you want to come on and have a chat, then please do. So while I'm talking about that, as you will notice, it is just me. I say there's a whole load of stuff going on in the background, sponsors, promoters, people want to be involved with us. The one type of person that I'm struggling with is presenters. I cannot get people to come on and present it. Maybe it's just me. Who knows? But come and have a chat. So I've set these up for if any of you is involved in sport or rugby, you will know the rap family, and that's massive. So I run all of those as well. I just kind of want to do the same thing with all of those. I just bring in people. They're not friends. They're just people that we kind of get to know on social media, and then we have a chat. And I go, okay, yeah, we get along well. Let's do a podcast. Yay! There we go. So don't feel that just because you don't know me, this isn't something that you can do. You absolutely can. I did get noticed in Tesco's shopping on Saturday. Somebody said, "Are you the guy that does the Towncast?" I went, "Yes." So I go, "Oh, yay!" So it is working. It is a bit of fun. So if you care about our town, if you care about what's happening and you want to do something positive, this is all about promoting the positivity of our town. Okay. It's about throwing stuff out there. It's about asking questions about how we go forward positively. Um, yes, there will be some negative comments. I'm not interested in them because if people want to put negative comments, they can do it in their own bedrooms and shout at their own walls and not spread that negativity around the rest of us. Okay. So if you want to be positive, if you want to move this town forward, if you want to be part of the future of this town and you want to feel like you've done something to help this town move forward, then this could be the option for you. Drop me a line on ilovetowncast@gmail.com and let's have a chat on that. Okay, let's move on to the chatty bit. I've got a couple of bits to talk through on the chatty bit this week. So I've just finished doing the Pembroke Dock Towncast, and the one bit that crosses over between the Pembroke Dock Towncast and this Towncast is Argyle Street Surgery. Okay, which has been a headache for God knows how long, and I know that. And I'm not going to repeat what I said on that. So if you want to know what's going on with Argyle Street Surgery, it is on the Pembroke Dock Towncast. Please go and watch that. It's about 20, 25 minutes in, something like that. Basically, they have a connection with Pembroke Dock Town Council, and so the meeting minutes are up. And yeah, I'll give you the quick summary of it. But if you think that this is somebody else's problem, it's not. This is down to us to solve. It's down to us as residents to solve what we can do down there. Okay. The really quick figures that I've got, where they opened that surgery with 17 full-time equivalent GPs, they are now down to 7, and a lot of that is down to decisions that we have made as a community, rightly or wrongly. Whatever you think about what happened, that's the reality. And sometimes stuff happens that you didn't know about, and you've got to put your hands up and go, we got that wrong, let's change it, and let's have a rethink of what we did. Okay. Nobody in that surgery is sitting there thinking everything's going great. They are desperately recruiting people in, but every time they try to recruit someone, they take one look at social media and they go, no way. These are intelligent people that can work anywhere in the country. And we have to create a situation where they go, I quite like the look at Pembroke. That looks like look at the beaches, look at all the walks, look at the environment around. Hey, look at the people. Look at the people. They look like a really positive bunch of people. So the full spiel of that, with all the numbers, how many appointments per day, how many no-shows, what we can do about it. It's all on the Pembroke Dock Towncast. So please go and have a little listen to that as well. Okay. So I've been trying to do traffic light updates. I said I'd do some traffic light updates. I did it on day one, and I was planning to kind of do a few more. It just hasn't happened with all the stuff going on in the background, but I'm going to try and do another one this week. So what's happening with traffic lights at the minute? So they are about halfway along well, not even halfway, about a third of the way along Holyland Road. And this is how it goes. Okay. And I said this last time, say the same again. So they dig a hole at the start, and then so you've got the bits where they're just going down there, then there's a bit in the middle where they're really working on it, and then there's a bit at the end where they kind of filling in well, yeah, so that bit, and then they're planning those bits in, and then it kind of moves along. It kind of moves, so they finish the bits at the start, and the bits at the start kind of move to the end, and everything kind of goes along. Okay. So there are times when it's 100 meters long. Yeah, they've also got to provide parking spaces for residents in the middle. So at the minute, you've also got the entrance into the Holyland Estate. Okay. So you've now got 3 sets of traffic lights in there. It takes time. So I travel along that road quite often, every day, to be honest. I've seen people jump the lights in all 3 directions. Okay. Just because they can't be bothered to wait. I've seen people jump those lights, and when somebody's coming the other way, instead of stopping, go up onto the pavement and drive half on the pavement. Yeah, not even stop on the pavement, drive along the pavement with traffic coming the other way. And oh, no, yeah, I'm too important. I'm going to drive along the pavement after I've just jumped a red light. I'm going to keep driving. To hell with everyone else. Okay, it's a residential road. There are residents either side of the road that still need to park their cars. The arrogance of people who sit there. Yeah, at times it can be 3, 4, 5 minutes long. It can. But here's what happened when you go through. Okay, the traffic lights go, whoa, stop. Yeah, and they'll reset themselves until they're sure that everything's clear. So every time somebody goes, oh, to hell with this, I'm just going to go through. Okay, you cock it all up for everyone else. And then you create more delays. And then when you do that, somebody's sitting there going, well, this has been 7, 8 minutes now. Why am I still sitting here? They must be broken. Whoosh, through they go. Then it has to reset again. I agree there should be notices on each of those traffic lights saying the approximate time, the approximate wait should be around, 5 to 6 minutes. That's not a massive delay. It is not a massive delay. Build it into your day. Okay. There should also be a phone number that says, if you think that it's broken, please report it to this number. Those aren't there. Okay. And that's up to the town council to send a message to Wales and West and say, look, this isn't working. I think some of the delays in between the changes could probably be shortened up. And I think probably when they move up beyond the next move will take out it'll go beyond the Holier Than Estates. You go back down to 2 lights, and I think that makes it a bit easier. But again, and I don't know why it is, but people seem to think that it is some kind of racetrack, and just I've seen people wheel spinning to get out from the red light as quick as possible. Wheel spinning. Come on, people! This is 20-mile-an-hour zone. There's an old people's home. There's countless numbers of people walking their dogs down towards Holyland Woods. You've got that's the main route into town for people going onto school buses, going to school, coming home from school. Just calm it down, people. Otherwise, somebody is going to get hurt. Somebody is going to get really, really hurt there. If you're driving up on a pavement, if you're driving past a pavement and it's somebody's house, it just takes a little kid to come out and bang, and you can see it happening, particularly with the tankers that go down. It wasn't a tanker that was up on the road, but just have that little bit of self-control. This is going to be here for another 5 months, so get used to it. By jumping the lights, you're not making it any better for anybody else. So just have that bit of self-control and go, do you know what? It's a 20. Let's just cruise it through. I myself, so I was coming from town, and you kind of with the traffic lights where you kind of come up and then you go over the top of the hill and you come down the other side. So I was, I knew the lights were the other side. I could see the lights were red, and I, we're cruising down there. There's no point. I'm gonna make, what 25, 30 meters. Somebody then came behind and tried to overtake me and then tried to cut back in. Yeah. As traffic's coming the other way. Yeah. So that's not jumping the red lights. That's just trying to overtake somebody in the queue. I mean, seriously, people, come on, we have got to be better than this. I know where the majority of those people are driving from, and I've sent an email to them saying you need to calm your people down because it's not doing you any good. So just have that little bit of self-control. It really isn't difficult to have that level of self-control where you go, I can wait. You are not that important. Nobody is that important where they can't wait 5 minutes to get to where they need to be. Okay. So I will try and put a little update on this week. And I'll try and do one before they take the traffic lights away from the three-way and go back into a two-way, just so you can see what's happening. What I will say is that I did walk the dogs down past it, and when they are digging deep. They're going down, 5, 6 meters at some point. It surprised me how deep they're having to dig. So yeah, just be aware that it's not an easy job on that. Okay, so let's have a little talk here. So I was going to do this last week, and I said, well, the last time I did a pod, and the young men on their bikes had other ideas. The young men on their bikes are still around, by the way. I saw one nearly get taken out on the roundabout at the end of Main Street. He decided that his route was more important than the tanker coming the other way, and literally missed by 2, 3 meters. Um, yeah, again, maybe I'll ask the question in the town council, because seriously, something's got to be done. I know the police are aware of it. I know the town council are aware of it. I know, we've got to log it, but if Gordon Bennett, someone's gonna get seriously hurt if they don't control themselves. Anyway, so what I was going to do last time was a little bit on events, and a little bit on how, what we've got in Pembroke and what we can do. So when the castle announced this week the evening shows, the outdoor theatre, and then somebody put, when's Rock the Castle coming back? And Rock the Castle was really, really good. It was really, really good. I went 3 or 4 times, really enjoyed it, great fun. Because the job I was doing at the time, I'd either work a Friday or a Saturday late night, so I could never do all of them. So it's one of those bits. But it was a really, really good thing for the town. Would bring people in, would bring people from the town out. So if Rock the Castle isn't going to happen at the castle, let's look at how we can make that happen somewhere else. We used to have a carnival. We used to have a carnival. We used to go to Pembroke Rugby Club. So for whatever reason, rugby club not doing it now. The carnival thing has kind of died a death. In its old format at the very least. So maybe we need to look at a new format, a different way of doing it. Maybe not at the rugby club, maybe down on the commons, something like that. But we need to look at how that happens. So the first thing that we need to do is to look at the resources that we've got. And you look at the resources that you've got and you go, wow, come on, people. We got the mill pond, we got the castle pond, we've got the castle, which I know it operates as a completely separate thing, but is actually really involved in the town. You look at the winter fair, things like Rock the Castle and what have you. So you've got that. Then you've got a whole stretch of the commons that can be used for different things, and we don't use it for anything, and it's a really, I don't know, it feels quite disappointing in a way that we got the opportunity to, but we just don't use it in a way that we could. So for me, and I've done a lot of work in the past on what builds a community. Yeah. What social investment is. What is social investment? The one thing about social investment, I'll tell you straight off the lid, okay, is that people on the right wing side of government, and if you're right wing thinking, that will scare the living daylights out of you. The thought that a community might work for itself and might control what's happening in its area and might do things for the benefit of people they don't know. That scares the living daylights out of people. But that's what builds communities. That's what builds community resilience. That's what builds community engagement. The more engaged in your community you are, the more likely you are to grow your community, the more likely you are to care about your community. If you wonder what the difference between a growing community is and a shrinking community, have a look at something called the broken window theory. broken window theory basically says that if you don't repair stuff, if you don't look after stuff, it starts to bring everything else down. Yeah, and you'll probably have the easiest way to think of this is if somebody on your street starts painting their house, okay, and then their house starts to look really quite nice, and you think, oh, mine looks a little ropey, and then somebody else paints their house, and you think, oh crap, that's two now. There's 20 houses on our street, two of them are just painted. I better start thinking. If you're the last one, yeah, then you think, oh God, right, yeah, okay, I'm feeling the pressure now. That's a social kind of thing, okay? And the same works the other way around. Yeah, so so and so up the road, well, they've got a couple of broken down cars in their garden. Guy over the road's repairing motorbikes in his garden. He's got a smashed window. The guy up the road there, their fence is broken. Well, what difference is it going to make if I weed my front garden? Yeah. So it goes up, it goes down. That's how it works when we talk about social investment. It's not about the money you put in; it's about the effort you put in to improve your community and your society. Okay. So then you look at right. Okay, what could we do? What could we do in Pembroke to make Pembroke special? So here's the thing. Okay, when you go on holiday abroad, you go to France or Spain or anything like that, there will usually be an evening market somewhere. And that will be the place to go and get your memorabilia for, this is my little trinket that I've got from on holiday. I've, you know, I haven't traveled massively over the world, but I've seen it in Spain, I've seen it in Italy, I've seen it in Mexico, I've seen it in France. Yeah. So it's kind of tuned in and you get told, oh, well, what's to do? Oh, you need to go and visit that market. Why is that market not in Pembroke? Yeah, why is it not in? Yes, we've got a farmer's market or a country market in the town hall on a Thursday morning, I think it is. Let's think bigger. Let's think more exciting. Through the summer holidays, let's put something on that says to people, come to Pembroke. If you look at the walkway around the back of the castle pond, that could be, massive. There's room there to put stalls and to walk all the way around. You could have various stalls. You could have eateries. You could have music there, all sorts of stuff. And it doesn't interfere with traffic. It's out the way. So yeah, come on, there's opportunities there that could be great. I would love to see a painting competition. So you might have seen on Sky Arts, what's it called? Portrait artist and landscape artist. Landscape artists will be done. So landscape artist of the year, something like that. Let's get people all sat around there painting different views of the castle, painting different views of the town. Again, would bring people in, would grow, would create an artist community. Let's get them up in the town hall. Let's show people what we can do. Let's put them in the castle as a bit of an exhibition, whatever. So there's plenty of opportunity there where we've got the resources to do stuff. You look at the commons, we could do open air cinema down there. We could do open air bands. There's loads of stuff that could be where the carnival comes to. We could have a walking carnival that could, then be a part of somewhere down on the commons. There's loads of stuff we could do, but we have to do it ourselves, and we have to go right. Okay, we're going to host this. Like you see with the VE Day, the thing with VE Day is it's either council hosted things for the town, and they tend to be quite military or religion focused. And then you have lots of little town, your street might put a little street party where people just sit out the front and have a chat and have a couple of beers, or a pub might put a band on for a night or something. Let's think bigger. Let's think about how we can get groups together, communities together to put on a town festival. Let's put it on the commons. Let's have bands through the evening. Let's have stuff through the day. Let's have an activity. Let's have a focus to it. Let's do something that brings people in to Pembroke for a reason. You know, you look at the Commons car park through the summer, absolutely rammed pack with cars. You know, visitors coming in, going, I want to go to Pembroke Castle. And I've just shown you the events that are on there. Great, lovely, yeah. So you can come around, get a bit of history, get some fantastic photos off the top of the turrets, climb the keep, take some photos off the top of the keep. Then there's activities for the kids, then there's a cafe, lovely jubbly. That's our opportunity as a town to say to people, oh, hang on, come on, we've also got this, we've also got that. We've got bands playing every night. We've got a street market on a Wednesday evening. We've got a carnival coming. These are the opportunities that we've got that we're not making the most of, and it does take somebody to put their head above the parapet and go, hey, let's do something. And I know, again, if you look on the town council website and look at some of the minutes, you will see some of the dangers of putting your head above the parapet, because some people will come and just shout you down because they're negative, miserable people, basically. They don't want you to have a town where they can't do whatever they want whenever they want, and don't make a noise because I want to have a sleep. Don't tell me where I can ride my bike. Don't tell me where I can leave my horse. Go, yeah, yeah. You'll see that on the council website. Those are the people that get scared most by, you know, doing something together as a town, getting together as a town, um, and going, hey, here's what we do. You look at the carnival, right? Look at the carnival. Um, so I briefly lived up in Weston-super-Mare a few years ago. And now many of you will know about the Weston-super-Mare winter carnivals, the Somerset winter carnivals, and they're massive. They're huge. Why are they huge? Because each town does one or two floats, and they work all year on those floats, and they have carnival clubs, and it's kind of like it becomes a community on its own. So we could have a Pembroke um, carnival club or a Moncton carnival club, one or two in Pembroke, one or two in Pembroke Dock, one in Neyland, one or two in Milford, two or three in Haverfordwest, one in Tenby, one in Saundersfoot. And you all get together and you all go to each other's carnivals, yeah? And it works really, really well. There's no reason why we couldn't do that in Pembrokeshire, and we couldn't start some. So the Haverfordwest Carnival is starting to, with Pure West Radio, are trying to reinvigorate the Haverfordwest Carnival. We need something in Pembroke to do that. Let's use the Commons as our base instead of the rugby club. The rugby club's got other things going on, probably doesn't want to have this up there, where it does damage the grass, it would damage the pitch, it takes a long time to repair. With the way the weather is at the minute, it just takes one iffy year and the pitch is destroyed for the next 3 or 4 years. So let's do it on the Commons. Let's do something on the Commons. Doesn't need to be on the back of lorries. It quite easily be on a walking. Think of Mardi Gras. If we did an evening Mardi Gras kind of style thing, so you might not even need to do it on the Commons. Might start in the Commons on the afternoon, and then the parade goes through the town, and it stays in the town through the night, and then we just party through the night. We close the street for 3 nights in October to give money to the fair, and we go, here's a whole load of cash that exists in Pembroke. Please take that cash and go somewhere else. Yeah. Instead of going, here's an event in Pembroke, and all you people from outside come and enjoy Pembroke Mardi Gras or whatever it is. Yeah. and we can put bands on, and we can do outdoor bars, and we can put seats in the street, and we can party. We can have a real fun time. You know, those kind of things can be done, but it's got to come from us, the people. It's our responsibility to make our town a place where people want to be and people want to be part of the community. Now, there's a whole load of stuff that I could talk about with communities and how we look after our town, but I'm gonna leave that for another time, another podcast, because it's, I could go on and on. And on. There's so much opportunity, really is so much opportunity, and I would love to have people come on board and go, hey, let's make the most of that opportunity. Okay. So that's my message to you people. Let's get involved. Let's make something happen. More than happy for you to come on and talk about that. And I will do whatever I can to get you up and running. But yeah, let's put something together to be proud of on that one. Okay. Right, take a breath, Lee. Take a breath. So, once again, if you want to be part of what we do, please do give us a shout. So, if you want to look after events, if you want to look after the town news, if you want to do the chatty bit, you want to do the sports desk, which we're about to do now, if that's your thing, then please do get involved, because this is what we want to do. So, I am going to share that page again. Let's take a look at the sports desk. I know there's loads of other sports going on. Please send me your sports results. I will more than happily post them. This particular website, allwalessport.co.uk, is a really, really good place to go and get your rugby and football and cricket scores from. But if you've got anything else, then please do let me know. So let's have a look at Division 1 results from last week. So who have we got in Division 1? Nobody. Quite sad, really, isn't it? Nobody. Right, Division 2. Let's look at Division 2. So in Division 2, here we go. So Pembroke beat Burton by 110 runs. Bold Burton out for 107 after posting 217 for 6. That's a cracking score to get going with. 217 for 6. Well done, boys, on that one. I don't think we've got anybody else in there. No, we don't. So let's have a little look at the table. We're at Pembroke at top of the table. Thank you very much. That's so 2 games, 2 wins, 39 points, looking good. Narberth and Hook both also in the running. So this week's game is at home against Lechlade. Where are Lechlade in the table? So Lechlade they're in 4th. So that should be a good game as well. They're having a good season. They've only dropped 2 points on that. So yes, Pembroke and Lechlade this weekend up at Crickmaran. So get yourselves involved on that one. Let's have a look in Division 3. So this is a few more bits involved here. So Lamphy lost to Hundleton, which is yeah, I mean that classes as a local derby on that one. So Hundleton they bowled Lamphy out for 91 and they passed that for the loss of 3 wickets. So they won by 6 wickets. And then Stackpole lost to Pembroke Dock. So Stackpole bowled out for 107, which Pembroke Dock passed for the loss of 2 wickets. So the Dock went in there by 8 wickets. Let's have a look. So we're only 2 weeks in. Hundleton are top. Did I say Hundleton? Yeah, Lamphy and Hundleton. Yeah, phew. Hundleton are top on 40 points. Stackpole are just below Pembroke Dock in 5th on 24 points. Lamphy 1 place below them on 21. Okay, let's have a look in Division 4. So I think we've got a few more second teams in Division 4. Results from last week. There we go. Pembroke seconds beat Carew thirds. So Pembroke bowled Carew out for 113. No, Pembroke posted 118 for 1 and then bowled Carew out for 113. So they won by 9 wickets. So yeah, lovely jubbly there. So they should be quite close to the top of the table. Yeah, 2 games in, 40 points, joint top with Columbus Foot on there. That's looking good. And then fixtures for this week. Oh, there we go. Look, so Pembroke and Saunders Foot are playing. So one of those two is not going to have played 3-1-3 this week. So best of luck to Pembroke seconds this weekend. Let's have a little look at Division 5. See how Division 5 is going. So I thought we had a second team in here. Yes, here we go. Hundleton seconds beat Nayland thirds by 10 wickets. Nayland thirds all out for 106, and Hundleton seconds passed out without losing a wicket. That's a fairly hefty old victory there. Hundleton seconds are in second place, 38 points on that one. So fixtures this week. Pembroke Dock seconds and Hundleton seconds. Second versus third. Look at that. So again, I mean, you'd class that as a local derby. You would. So that'll be good to see. That'll be up at Imble Lane. Pembroke Dock seconds and Hundleton second. The good thing with the Imble Lane pitch is there's a pub right next to it. So enjoy that one. I don't think we've got anybody in Division 6. Division 6 is an absolute crazy. I think we've got Lamphy seconds in this one, actually. Haven't we? So I cannot work this league out at all. So Pembroke thirds beat Lamphy seconds. Who knows who's playing? Who knows how the scoring in this goes? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in this one. So Pembroke and Lamptey. So this weekend there are no fixtures. Have the Western Crescent, it doesn't affect us. But coming up, we've got Lamptey seconds away to Kilgetty seconds, and then Pembroke thirds hosting Haverfordwest Cresselly on the 17th. Okay, that is it for. I just want to look at that one. Yeah, so Pembroke thirds are mid-table. There's only 6 of them in there, but yeah, that's where they are in there. But Pembroke has only played the one game. Yes. So what I will say about Pembroke, this week, so I've shared a few of the posts this week. The thing with Pembroke Cricket Club is it's really, really good at social media. Like really good. It's got all the kits on there. It's got the women's team on there. It's got all the stuff that's going on, so it's well worth a follow and keeping in touch with what's happening there on that. Okay, so that is Sports Desk done for this week. If you've got any sports that you would like me to cover, then please do tag me in the posts. I will do my level best to broadcast them to the nation next week. I'm planning on being back now. I had to miss last week, so hopefully next week we shall be back to normal again and we can carry on as we are. So one last shout out. If you fancy joining me, please do drop me a line on ilovetowncast@gmail.com or on our social media. Message me on our social media. I would love to get some more people on and have a few more different points of views, provided you're not a complete nut job. So, with that said, I shall see you next week. And in between now and then, have a lovely time. Toodle pips for now.